welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing really well. So today I'm going to be doing a January roundup of all the books that I read in January of 2021. So altogether I completed 5 books and I thought I would give you little mini reviews on how they went. So the first book I read in 2021 is Here is the Beehive by Sarah Crossman. So this is a story about a girl called Anna who was having an affair with Connor. Connor is married with 3 children, I think it was, and basically what happens is Connor dies in an accident and Anna is grieving for this guy that she has been having an affair with, and obviously she can't be open about her grief because he was married. This book is basically written in verses, so it's actually a very quick read. I did read it in one entire day just because it's really short. And I think you can't see that because it's too bright, but it's written in verses, and I gave this book a 2-star. I did not enjoy it at all. I mean, I sped through it because there were some interesting bits in the middle, but it was basically a bit hard to follow because it was told in verses. It was just a weird book and I didn't like it. I didn't like Anna, who was the main character. To be honest, I didn't like any of the characters. I felt like there was no development in Anna at all, and it was like a typical obsessed with the wife of the husband book, and it was a no for me. The next book I read was Missionaries by Phil Clay. So in the blurb, they talk about a guy called Mason who's an ex-Marine, a US Special Forces medic, and Lisette, a foreign correspondent. Both of them have left like long wars in Afghanistan, and they're drawn to the civil war in Colombia. So the actual book itself is written from a million different perspectives. There's like a bazillion characters in there, and I found it really hard to follow. Like, I'll be honest, this is not the kind of books that I usually read, but I wanted to try something different. I thought it'd be quite interesting because I've been watching Narcos. I really liked it, so I thought I'd be able to like follow this a little bit more. But I just found it really hard. Like, there were so many characters, I couldn't tell who was who. And like the blurb just mentions 2, but there's like a billion more characters in the book, and they're all written like each chapter will sort of be from a different person's perspective, and I kind of just didn't get the point of the book. There was some interesting parts, like at the beginning I felt like the first few chapters were quite interesting because I was trying to get to know the characters, and then towards the middle I was like, which character is this, who is this? And then, you know, sort of at the end there was a little bit of an interesting bit, and it kind of just like fell flat like straight away. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this. It wasn't a book for me. I gave it 2 stars too. So after reading 2 not really great books for me, I decided to go with books that I usually enjoy, which are contemporary romances, and I read Well Met. So Well Met is about a girl called Emily who's recently split up with her long-term partner. She moves to Maryland where her sister and her niece live. Her sister recently has an accident, so she goes to help with her sister and her niece. She gets roped into doing the Renaissance fair. This has been sitting on my bookshelf for a very long time, and I sort of didn't want to read it because I wasn't really into the Renaissance fair thing, but I actually really liked it. I did give this a 3-star. Just because it's like not my favorite of all the contemporary romances, but it was actually a really good read, especially after reading the other 2. I felt like, so the main girl is Emily, and then the guy she falls in love with is Simon. I felt like we could have explored his character a little bit more. Like, I felt like we explored Emily's quite well. We were able to sort of see her character develop quite a bit, but for Simon, I felt like maybe the book didn't explore that as much. But overall, I think it was really good for a contemporary romance. I did like the other characters in the book, which were April, who was her sister, and the sister's daughter, who was Caitlin, and also one of Emily's friends, Chris. So there were some really good characters in there. I just wish that Simon's character was developed a little bit more, but overall it was a pretty good contemporary romance. The next book I read was The Push by Ashley Audrain. So this I was seeing all over social media, so I had to pick it up and read it because people were saying this was like a page turner. So it's about a lady called Blythe Connor who has had a troublesome childhood with her mother, and also her mother has had a troublesome childhood with her own mother. So it's like a generation of mothers. Blythe has her first child, Violet, and she struggles with her daughter. She doesn't want history to repeat itself. Her daughter is really demanding. Blythe sort of struggles with that, and basically Blythe starts to think there's something wrong with her daughter Violet, but her husband doesn't believe it and thinks she's making it up because she's messed up herself. And Blythe thinks that the husband doesn't understand because he's never been through what she's been through. It's a really good book. It's definitely engaging and it's definitely a page turner like people have said it was. In the book, it's told from a couple of different perspectives. Mostly it's focused on Blythe. There are bits sort of seeing the background of the mother, why Blythe's mother behaves the way she was, and then the life of Blythe's grandmother as well. So you sort of see why each of them acts the way they were and why Blythe is the way she is as well. So I think that was really good because it really like gives you an understanding of like what's actually gone on in all their lives. But at times was a little bit confusing because I was like, whose mother is this? Whose father? Because they would just sort of call like the character father and I'd be like, is it Blythe's father or is it like her mum's father? But overall, like most of the part was on Blythe, so you could follow. It was just a few bits in the middle where I was a bit confused. Like the book itself, there is some really like tough topics in there and it could be a bit of a trigger. So yeah, there's definitely some tough topics in there, but overall I think it was a really good book. It was written quite well. I loved the character development. Like I really felt like you understood what Blythe was going through, and also by putting in the perspective of her mother and grandmother, it really gave a little bit more insight into why they were the way they were. So I would recommend this book. I gave it a 4-star because I did think it was really good, but yeah, some of those topics were a little bit tough. But yeah, really good book and would recommend. The last book I read in January was another contemporary romance, and it was Beach Read by Emily Henry. So this is another popular book that was floating around social media a fair bit a while ago as well, and it's about a girl called January who is a hopeless romantic. She's a writer, and basically her father passes away and she finds out that he was actually leading a double life and he had another partner and he was cheating on his mum the entire time. Then the male lead is Gus, who is a serious literary type, and he's also a writer, and she used to know him from school and she hated him because he was very condescending and he used to be sort of rude about her like genre of books. So it's a book about mostly about finding out about her father, and then she moves into the house that he used to live in because she's broke, and it's a story about her falling in love with Gus. They have a bet against each other to write a book in each other's genre. So January would write a book about like a serious book and Gus would write a romantic book, and yeah, basically they spend the weekends, they go do something that would make them like think of things to write about in their book. So yeah, in terms of the book, it was a good romance. I liked January and I felt like they portrayed real life problems as well. In the book, there's a bit about them going to a cult, and I just felt like that was unnecessary and it didn't really fit in the book. Personally, I didn't really enjoy that bit as much. But besides that, I think the story was really good. I did find the male lead, Gus, a little bit annoying at times. Overall, I think it was a good book. I felt like the cult part didn't really develop well and it was a bit unnecessary, which is why I gave it 4-star. But overall, I liked the book. It was like a mix of real life problems with a mix of like romance. So yeah, a pretty good read in the end. So that was all the books that I read in January of 2021. What is your favorite book that you read in January 2021? Any recommendations for me? I will always ask this in my videos because I love recommendations and I really am trying to read books outside of my genre. So please let me know. I would love to hear from you, and thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you next time.